Well, welcome back to our Pampered Chef Party in our part 3 of our knife skills lessons. And so this video is going to be on basic cutting skills. So we're going to go through the difference between chopping and cubing and julienning by using an onion and a carrot. Okay, so whenever you have, basically whenever you have an onion, your goal is to chop it up. And depending on what you're cooking as to how fine or how thick of a cut or chop that you need. So when you hear the word chop, chop basically in culinary terms refers to, I just need to cut it up, put it into something, and it's going to be there for flavor and to cook down so that you really don't see the item in the end, or if you do, it doesn't take away or detract from whatever it is that you're cooking. If you're trying to do something like a hash or some sort of meal to where you're going to see the product that you're cutting up, then you're either going to dice it or matchstick it, julienne it, or something to where the pieces are the same size, and there's the same size so that they cook evenly and so that they look appealing. Okay, and so with your onion, whenever you go to chop an onion, you've got two parts to an onion. You've got the root end and you've got the stem end. So you're going to cut off the stem end, and you want to cut it off about an inch away from the stem. We're just going to go straight down. And I have my little waste bowl over here to put all the skins and stuff in. And we're cutting up a red onion because we're going to use it later in one of our recipes. Now, you can either, from here you need to cut it in half again. So we're going to go straight through the root ball. Go straight down. We're going to set this aside, and we're just going to cut the other half up. And we're going to peel it. So we're going to take out the outside peel. And depending on what the outside layer looks like, you may want to remove that too. But typically on a red onion, you don't have any issues with it. So you're just going to assess it as you cut it open. And sometimes the skin is kind of hard to get off, as it is with this one. But you want to make sure you get all the skin off. That is not an appetizing thing to have. Okay, so now that we've got this, we're going to get our skin off of our knife. And we're going to start to chop. So you're going to take your knife and you're going to make vertical cuts through the onion, and then you're going to come around and make perpendicular cuts through the onion as you work your way back. All right, so you want to try to keep these as close to the same size as you can, although it's not 100% necessary. And now we're going to start cutting from the front and work our way to the back. And the way we're going to hold it is we're going to curl our fingers under, and you're almost using your fingernails as a gripper. And then as you're working your way back down, you're able to have control over what you're cutting and control over the knife at the same time. The motion that you're going to use, you're going to come up, you're going to move back, and then you're going to cut down and move forward. Till you get to the end, and then that's going to go in our trash. Okay, so now we've got our onions chopped up. Now, if you needed something that called for, say, minced onions, okay, so what you would do from here, and I'm just going to separate this out. I'm going to take some of these, and this is going to be our cut. Then we're going to take some of them, and we're going to call them our chop, and then some of them are going to be our minced. So we'll just go ahead and put these in a bowl for now. And we'll mince these. So when you've got a mince in your recipe, you're going to take your chopped onion and you're just going to cut. You're going to chop all the way through here. And mince just means chop finely, okay? You'll see this for like minced garlic is one that's being called for, that's minced a lot for garlic. Minced onions. Anything that requires small pieces, because you don't want that flavor to be the most overpowering, or you don't want it to be the texture at all. There's different reasons that things would be called to be minced or chopped. And you just keep going until you get it down as small as you want it, or as small as it needs to be. Okay, so this would be considered a coarse mince instead of a fine mince, but you can see the difference between chopped coarse mince, and then if you kept going down, you got it really, really small, then you have a fine mince. Now the next thing we're going to show you is a dice, okay? And we're going to use a carrot to show you the dice. Because it's kind of hard to dice up a round object. And you're thinking, well, a carrot is round, how are you going to do that? Well, I'm going to show you. So on your carrot, we're going to chop off the end, both ends. Okay, and now basically we have a cylinder that likes to roll on your cutting board. So the first thing you're going to do is I'm going to cut this in half. Save that one for the side. And then we're just going to take off a little sliver here. A little more. There we go. So now that keeps us from rolling. Now when you think about a dice, you want to think about like a playing dice, which is square on all 6 sides. So we're wanting to do the same thing with this. So we're going to cut off an edge. Okay. We're going to flip it over. We're going to cut off an edge over here. Okay. Now, we're going to flip it on the edge. One of the edges, we're going to cut off the top. So we have a big cube or rectangular cylinder, if you will. Now, we're going to determine to cut these a 1/4 inch and a 1/4 inch and a 1/4 inch. Now, I'm going to lay these on the side and I'm going to cut them a 1/4 inch and a 1/4 inch, 1/4 inch, and a 1/4 inch. Okay. Now this is what we call matchsticks. Now these are large matchsticks, but this is the term for a long, elongated, smaller piece is considered a matchstick. Now, if you're going to cut these into cubes, you're going to use that same 1/4 inch rule that we use to cut the matchsticks down into, and you're going to use that. So now you have 1/4 inch cubes. And we'll do the next ones. And then we'll do the next ones. Like so. And what you're shooting for is where they're all just relatively the same size. So that it looks pretty. Oh, we missed, there we go. They still are sticking together. So they look pretty, and they also cook evenly. So that they all cook, they'll all end at the same time. So that's the difference between chopping, mincing, matchsticking, and cubing. Now, if you wanted to get down to julienne, and we're going to do the same thing with our carrot. We're going to cut off an edge, Is you're basically matchsticking again, but you're doing it very thinly. Okay. Now you're going to do it again. So this is when you're chopping like less than 1/8 of an inch, maybe even 1/16 of an inch. But now you've got julienne carrot. Okay, I'm not the best julienner. My fingers are really big, but you get the idea. A julienne is a really thin, sliced matchstick. Then we've got our dice. We've got our mince, which this would be a coarse mince. And then we've got our chop, which is just a regular chop. Now you can do a coarse chop and a fine chop. Coarse chop would be bigger chunks. So if we were taking our same red onion that we had before, we could do a fine or a coarse chop just by cutting a bigger chunks off of it. Okay, so that's our basic our basic knife skills, kitchen skills video. Obviously, if you got any questions, comments, or you want us to, just ask anything, just post it down in the comments. And we're always here. You can email us at cookwithdaniel@gmail.com. So we're here for you. If you need anything, just let us know. Thank you.